Okay, kids, here we go for Royal Ascot 2026, and it's going to be a stunning week with the sun out and some top-class racing at the world's best flat racing festival. Caroline is with me on Tuesday for her Irish angle on this, so as usual for our Royal Do stuff, let's get a couple of the later handicaps out of the way. First up, in the Ascot Stakes, well, it would be fitting if old Charlie Boy and the Queen got a winner on day one of the Royal Festival, and Reaching High is the one to make the dream come true. I'd be delighted for the King, having had some ups and downs in the last couple of years, and you've got to admit, Reaching High is trained by Willie Mullins and ridden by Ryan Moore, so not only just bred in the purple, right? For all that, he looked a bit of a short price earlier this week at around 9-4, but was still coming through strong in this race last year, having got a bit stuck on the inner rail in the last 3 furlongs. So I reckon Ryan Moore will be looking for a better track position this year. And I'm sure this has been the first aim this term before the Irish St Leger in September. Finishing up on Tuesday, I've got the closer down to a straight fight between William Haggis's Valiancy and John and Thady Gosden's Gamrai. And I'm edging towards Gamrai, given that this good to firm ground should suit. And a certain Oisin Murphy in the hot seat does add to the case for. He did look to have the Boodles Handicap 1 going into the dip at Newmarket last time out. But Daiquiri Bay, under Ross Orion, reeled him in. With Daiquiri Bay back, Oisin is going to be timing his run carefully, but Gamrai hasn't reached his ceiling on turf yet, so gets my vote. Both me and Caroline's nap goes in the St James's Palace Stakes, where my pick is Bo Echo. He was just brilliant in the 2,000 guineas at Newmarket, looking imperious in the paddock and did not disappoint. Of course, the 1-2 from that Newmarket Classic, Bo Echo and Gestard face up to each other again, though Gestard has added the Irish 2,000 guineas to his CV since, while George Bowie has kept Bo Echo wrapped up specifically for this Group 1. I can't feel in my gut a reversal of that Newmarket race. So it's Bo Echo for me, with Gestard chasing him home. Caroline, your thoughts?
I'm sorry, Jaysella, but I'm going against Yuz for this one, because I do think that Gestard improved a huge amount in the 2,000 guineas at the Curragh. And by his own admission, Aidan O'Brien didn't have his classic runners peaking for that first weekend in May. But golly, he's got them all right on spec now. I would be putting 3 to 4 lengths between Gestard's run at Newmarket and what he did at the Curragh. So even if Bo Echo runs to that same level, I still think Gestard will beat him. I know that's a big call to make, given the reverence for Bo Echo after that stunning classic win, but it's Gestard for me for my nap.
For my next best, it's a pretty open race, this Wolferton Stakes, but last year's winner, Hartem, must have a great chance of following up. Sure to have come on for his run at Goodwood, where Sean Levy didn't knock the spots off him once he'd run his race within the final furlong. But surely this has been the target for Richard Hannon's Phoenix of Spain horse. I'd guess James Owen's Wimbledon Hawkeye, last year's second Galen, and Kevin Philippart Defoe's Ghostwriter would be in there somewhere, but I'll take my chance with Hartem. Back to the start of play at Ascot, and wow, what an opener have we got for the Queen Anne. Now then, there's going to be lots of you on Docklands, who is just a different beast here at Ascot, beating my selection Rosalian by a nose in this last year, but after a bit of a quiet spell, I reckon Charlie Appleby has turned a corner at the Moulton Paddocks Yard, so Notable Speech and Opera Ballo must be given huge respect. Opera Ballo did beat Field of Gold at Sandown last time out in the bet 3-6, 5 mile, and he's been off for a break since that April date, but Notable Speech was oh so impressive in the locking at Newbury that I think he's the way to go. More Thunder just gets better and better every time, and was closing in on Notable Speech in the locking, so must go close. And I think that's my 1-2. Caroline?
Well, Jaysella, horses for courses for me, because you just can't put Docklands down back here at Ascot. Of course, it's the first race of the festival, so it will be interesting to see which side of the draw works out better, with Notable Speech in stall 1. But Docklands is in 4, so Mark Zara has options, and he was very good the last day at Chartin, finishing less than a length behind Kobe's pick, My Wish in the Champions Mile. Yep, got to be Docklands for me, with More Thunder the danger.
So, the Coventry is next up, and I've got to tell you, I think that Ryan Moore might be on the wrong one with Confucius. Dare I say that? Well, it took a while for Ryan to get Great Barrier Reef up to top gear in the Marble Hill at the Curragh, but he was mighty good once he did, and that could suit this stiff finish at Ascot. That said, Ryan Moore don't get it wrong too often, so you pays your money and you takes your choice. We all know how good Eve Johnson-Houghton is with her 2-year-olds, so Night in Vegas would be my each-way pick. But I'll take the chance on Great Barrier Reef for the win. Then for the sprint highlight, I've got to go for Carl Burke's Night Raider in the King Charles III. You know this is going to be fast and furious, but James Doyle has options here if the Australian Raider Overpass or Jim Goldie's American Affair are setting the fractions out at the front. He could drop Night Raider in or take it on like he did in the Palace House at Newmarket earlier this year. Asfour is back for more, having won this in 2024, but hasn't set the world alight yet this term. So I could see Mick Appleby's Big Mojo in the places as an each-way steal, if that's your bag, and Francis-Henri Grafford's Rayevka should not be overlooked. Night Raider for me. Caroline?
Yes, JC, Night Raider does look a tempting one for this 5-furlong dash. As you say, it is going to be fast and furious, and I'm thinking that the Australian Speedster Overpass is sure to try and burn them all off from the front. But as Night Raider showed in the Temple Hill at Haydock Park, he can be played late, so James Doyle has all the options. Yes, easy enough for me, Night Raider as my next best,